far beyond that, because we do have the capacity for some revolutionary change here. And this is where I'm just going to end, and then I want to have some discussion about some of these things and get people involved. I really believe that we have the capacity to achieve revolutionary change in the next 5 years. I do, not only because we must. I think we all recognize that we're in a moment where there's no option to fail. We don't have the opportunity to fail. The Earth's carrying capacity is reaching or may have reached its limit. The economic crisis is getting worse by the day. It's very serious. So we can turn that seriousness, that danger, into a positive and use it as an impetus to really make some substantial change happen.
Because we got nothing to lose.
We got nothing to lose, that's right. There is no alternative. Margaret Thatcher always used to say that there was no alternative to her brand of neoliberalism. Well, there's no alternative to progressive politics at this point in time. We got nothing to lose. We also can do it because we really can. I mean, we have incredible organization in this country. There's a general strike going on in France right now. I don't know how many people saw that in the Cross Tribune. I'll tell you about it. France is on strike right now. There have been riots all over Europe. That's how people are reacting to the economic crisis that was imposed on them. Now here we're waiting to see what Congress does with stimulus, right? Come on, people, they've stolen hundreds of billions from us. They've driven students, entire generation, my entire generation, into debt, the most indebted generation in American history. Right? We have reasons to be angry. We have reasons to be hopeful. We have reasons to be angry. General strike going on in France right now. They have a lower union density than we do. Okay? In fact, last year, our union density went up. It was very good news today that came out. That we had 500,000 more workers in the United States who were members of labor unions. We have enough people in unions that we can pull off some serious level labor action, right? What we saw happen in Chicago could be just the beginning. It could be an inspiration. We have student associations. Here at UW-La Crosse, at Concordia, everywhere, students are organized. They have funding, they have meetings, they have rooms, right? They have a legal right to organize in the state of Wisconsin under the shared governance statute, right? We have organization. We have the capacity to pull this thing off. We also have the technology to do it. Right? There are things that are possible, even with the Earth's carrying capacity reaching a limit. Our ability to provide for everyone is greater today than it ever was in world history. We have the tools that are handy. And then finally, the thing which I think is most promising is that we've undergone a kind of cultural change in the United States in the last 30 or 40 years that I think is, frankly, a continuation of movement towards democracy. We've had a real democratization of our culture. It's gotten to the point where people expect to be asked to vote on everything. You go to a website, they want to know, do you like the green M&M better than the brown M&M, right? Whatever it is. They're always asking our opinion. People expect to be included. And in some ways what's happened is that we've gotten to one of those points where the culture has gotten out ahead of the political system, has gotten out ahead of the economic system. Right? The culture has become more cooperative. The culture has become more participatory. The system is still the same. We still have this old federal government. Members of Congress are supposed to represent 600,000 people. United States senators are supposed to represent entire states. We still have the freaking electoral college designed to uphold the power of the slave states of the South, right? We have an antiquated system, but the culture's gotten out way ahead. And I'll tell you, you know what happens when the culture gets out ahead of the political system? Revolutions happen, of one sort or another, right? The political system eventually has to change. It has to respond. And when it does change, we're going to be able to put all these technological know-how, all the things we've been incubating under the cloudy skies in Washington, D.C. for the last 30 years, we're going to be able to put those things to use. The final thing that I think that makes possible this kind of change is just the fact that it is, as I've been sort of harping on time and time again, a part of our national spirit. One of the things that Obama said on the campaign trail that I was always happy to see was that he would quote a founding father, and he wouldn't quote Washington, he wouldn't quote Jefferson, he wouldn't quote Adams. He quoted Thomas Paine, a union organizer from England. People don't know that. Thomas Paine left England. He went into exile because he organized a strike. Right? And things weren't good for him. He needed to go somewhere new. But Thomas Paine reminded folks here on this side of the pond that we have it in our power to make the world again, right? We have that power. And I want to urge all of us today to recognize that that power has never been greater. This is really our time. This is our moment, right now. It is a new day. We're ready, we're waiting, and I guess I'm going to ask, who's going to be the first to act? Who's going to be the first person here to make that organizing happen, to put lacrosse at the front of the progressive movement in the United States? I see a couple people standing up there, and another couple people there. Got a sense of capacity here.
All right.
Got some leadership. Anybody else ready to stand? Your knees.
Let's all stand.
Stand. Let's all stand.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Here we go. See, Sarah told me I got myself a pen. Clever. No, it's excellent. I have to say, I feel very good to be here with all of you today, because I look to lacrosse for inspiration. I know about what you guys are doing out here, and at this moment, it's your progressive State of the Union. So, you know, what does somebody have to offer? You know, so is there announcements that people want to make? Are there reflections on the inauguration? Are there questions people have about what was going on down there? Is anybody interested in the Bring the Guard Home campaign?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, that's good. Yeah, I like that. People will be happy to know that Spencer Black got the legislation back from the drafters today, and the legislation is going to be moving forward to basically tell the governor, every time you get a call-up order from here on out for our National Guard, you have to review it to determine whether it's legal. Because what's been happening is the governors have just ceded their authority over our Guard. They haven't been, you know, doing their job. And so, and if the governor determines that it's not legal, then their job is to take action, either in court or by refusing to release the Guard, to ensure that they don't be sent over there without a lawful authorization. So this is moving forward in Wisconsin and in 23 other states now.
And I think we have another group that's supposed to go.
That's right, 3,500 on February 17th. In Wisconsin, the largest deployment of Guard men and women since World War II. Saw a hand back there. Maybe you're just holding up a piece of paper.
Well, we have to show how all issues relate to each other.
That's right. What's that?
Troops all now, Guards all now.
Absolutely. Some other thoughts, some other questions? Things you've been thinking about. I mean, the title was A New Day. Maybe some other people here have some idea about what this new day could be, what it might look like.
And I was wondering if you could just elaborate a little bit on a popular bumper sticker slogan, which I sort of alluded to in the introduction, that democracy is not a spectator sport. And I think a lot of what you've talked about kind of links back to that too. At the same time, I think a lot of people, there's different types of activism. And maybe you could just outline it, because some people are like go to meeting people and hang out there and dicker over the minutia, and some people are like activists that'll climb trees. There's different types of activism for different people, and maybe you could just kind of describe that spectrum a little bit.
I mean, yeah, there are different kinds, and sometimes some of us do pieces of each, right? I mean, there's certainly a role for all kinds. There's a role for people who do work in the electoral arena. How many people here worked on campaigns last year, or maybe right now? I know somebody's running for mayor here. Saw that. We need progressives in office, no question. It makes a big difference. There's also a role for lobbying, frankly. I mean, I've gone back to that, lobbying Spencer Black, lobbying other members of the legislature to respond to the demands that the people put forward through our votes on the war to introduce legislation. But there's also other kinds of organizing. There's direct action organizing. You know, the way in which we stopped the Crandon mine, we went up against one of the largest corporations in the world, ExxonMobil, in the 1990s, was that people did all these things. People did the lobbying, they did the electoral work, they also did direct action.
We took our canoes.
What's that?
We took our canoes up there to the Flambeau River.
Absolutely.
To object to the Crandon mine.
Yeah, so there's you know, there's actually like demonstrations and so
Right.
on the water.
Right.
But you know, other things that happen that maybe don't get talked about so often. We took over Exxon's offices twice in northern Wisconsin. We held sit-ins up there. We attempted to take over the mine site. We had